Hey, what's up guys, Rep here. So no shock, we're going to be covering some more localizer related drama because this situation keeps getting crazier and crazier. Now, the war against bad localizations and mistranslations will continue for many years to come, but this current battle with localizers seems like it's reaching its climax because today we're getting a very strange crossover that I don't think anyone saw coming. So yesterday, voice actress and localizer Jamie Marchi made her official response to Asmongold through this TikTok, and as predictable as it might come, it is very, very cringe. And we're gonna watch it, but first, let's figure out how we got here. How is this localizer making an official response video to Asmongold over anime localizations? Well, a few weeks ago, Asmongold started making reaction videos to many different videos, including my own, where we were talking about localizers in anime and manga. What began as a conversation about AI potentially replacing localizers evolved into a very big spotlight on the decades of mistranslations that have plagued anime and manga localizations. Now, things would keep getting worse because, despite what people like Jamie will say, this is an issue that people are really interested in. In fact, it has reached Japanese users, including YouTube videos like this. Now, as many people have pointed out, especially on the Japanese side of things, this issue with English localizations is not well known in Japan. So when Japanese users are finding out what's happening to Japanese media over in English localizations, they are shocked and offended. I mean, quite predictably, this is vandalism of those Japanese products because these localizers want to insert political messages and, Gen Z humor when it's not appropriate. And we're seeing people point this out that Japanese users really do care. And the message is spreading. We're seeing a lot of tweets like this, both in Japanese and with accompanying English messages talking about the mistrust that exists in the West for these English localizations. And it's even been shared by popular artists and Japanese accounts like this, including this artist, Keideko, who drops some absolute bangers, by the way. But the message is spreading, and it's going to places like Japan where it hasn't before. And part of the issue and why this localization drama continues to keep snowballing and getting further and further is because the localizers who are being criticized won't shut up. They keep digging deeper and deeper holes for themselves by tweeting about this, and in their tweets, confirming every single concern and criticism that people have had about localizations of anime and manga. And one of the main players in that is voice actress and localizer Jamie Marchi, who has spent the last 2 weeks using every waking minute of her life responding to people on Twitter and confirming every criticism directed towards her. Now, she's most known for not only delivering the voice lines, but also the localization of Dragon Maid and this infamous line about the pesky patriarchal societal demands. Okay, now that's just the first step as to following everything that she's been doing and everything that she's being criticized for. But Jamie is trying to downplay everything and say that this is all about one word, that all of this hate is about one word in a script from 2017, the use of patriarchy. She is the definition of a crybaby, someone who wants to play the aggressor and the victim at the same time. She wants to act like she's the victim of a harassment campaign over one word in a set of dialogue from 2017, while also smugly celebrating that she's pissing everyone off by doing these intentional things. I mean, only a few days ago, she quote retweeted an old message confirming it by saying that she takes joy in changing lines in her localizations just to piss off people she doesn't like, while also trying to play the victim where she at first was trying to deflect criticism about the Dragon Maid line by saying she was getting attacked for lines she didn't write, where only 30 minutes later in an attempt to dunk on someone in the replies would then confirm that she was the one who was responsible for the patriarchy localization. And then things get worse because she confirms all the things that anime and manga fans are concerned about when it comes to localizations. She later admits, in an attempt to dunk on someone again, that she doesn't speak Japanese, and goes further and says that most of the script adapters for dubs also don't speak Japanese. Like I said, confirming all of the concerns that people have about English localizations and dubs. And then we had members of the industry who were doing an honest effort to show that there's alternative versions of this Dragon Maid line And this user provided four total alternative versions to that line of dialogue. Literally alternative versions that go syllable for syllable. It's the same number of syllables and has a more appropriate message that fits not only the dialogue from the Japanese original version, but also fits the character that's delivering the line more and makes more sense based on the context of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, where of course she replied to all these alternatives by saying, "Nuh-uh, mine's better, nuh-uh, nuh-uh," and then eventually resorting to name-calling as she normally does. Also, not helping her case is this Q&A that popped up, where, alongside other Funimation members, she was asked about mistranslations, where she defended herself by saying, "I have a vagina, deal with it," and then said that anyone who has problems with mistranslations, that those people are incels, Nazis, and misogynists. And yeah, if you take the grand look at everything, it's not just about one word, it's your reaction and the lack of respect you have for people criticizing you and your own fans of the medium that you work on. But Asmongold has been reacting to all this, and I guess she decided that Asmongold is going to be the person that she's going to respond to in this situation, probably because he has the biggest platform. And she wants to focus on him while also pretending like he's a literal nobody, and she's like, "I don't know who this guy is. Literal who?" Which is always funny to me. That is the most childish and narcissistic response to situations like this. You are not the main character of the universe. Just because you haven't heard of someone doesn't mean they're a literal nobody. It's so ridiculous. But she also stated about a week ago that she wanted to start off the new year with a new mentality where she's going to monetize the haters. Well, she did just that by making a TikTok response to Asmongold and his community. And yeah, I don't know really if making a TikTok is monetizing your haters when you get about 1 penny per 1,000 views, but you know, do your thing, I guess. But let's take a look at this TikTok and brace yourself.
Recently, some followers of Asmongold have been criticizing me and demanding answers regarding a line I wrote in 2017.
Okay, so you see the way she phrased this already. She's saying Asmongold's followers. It's not just Asmongold's followers that are criticizing you. It's fans of anime and manga that are criticizing you. It's members of your own industry that are criticizing you. It's Japanese users that are criticizing you. Trying to basically minimize all this to Asmongold's followers is an obvious cop-out here, but we're not really surprised by that, but let's continue.
And the answer I gave to a question at a panel a year or two later. If you don't know who Asmongold is, he is a streamer with well over 2 million followers.
Now, why do you think she mentioned that? 2 seconds ago, she's acting like she has no idea who this guy is and he's just some random nobody. But now she's mentioning that he has over 2 million followers. The reason she's doing that is to set up this narrative that it is an unhinged harassment campaign where she's just minding her own business and all of a sudden big bad Asmongold and his platform comes around to target harass her. It's obviously, again, an attempt to be the victim in this situation.
Now, since Asmongold was gracious enough to respond to the criticism and the demands for answers he's been receiving regarding his involvement with soft giving and their controversy.
So I'm not going to speak on behalf of Asmongold or any other content creator involved in this situation, but right now there is an article going around alleging that Soft Giving, a company that is like the middleman for content creators and charities, was taking a larger percentage than they should have. And basically they were supposed to be getting paid to be the middleman, to set up these content creators with a charity and set up events and do things like that. And there's the article alleging that they take a higher percentage than they should. And of course, you can tell how disingenuous someone like Jamie is. They see this article that's talking about soft giving and what they're doing wrong, and they immediately ignore soft giving and only focus on the content creators that worked with them in an attempt to raise money for charity. Where I'm assuming most of these content creators had no idea that soft giving was taking that large of a cut from these charitable donations. And the fact that they focus only on the content creators but not soft giving tells me that you're only raising this to basically try to attack people like Asmongold and pretend like you care about this issue that you wouldn't have cared about at all unless it affected someone you don't like. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. And at the end of the day, too, these content creators still raised hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars for charities. And Soft Giving is the only one that allegedly was doing something they shouldn't have been doing.
I thought it's only fair that I respond to his followers in kind. Well, who gives a shit? Somebody makes an allegation against me and now somehow I have to respond to it? No, I don't have to say anything. Who gives a fuck?
You know, have you ever seen those scenarios where, like, some kid who's getting, like, picked on in school has this fantasy of, like, walking up on stage during, like, a big school meeting and, like, snatching the mic away, and then does, like, a epic roast of all their classmates and expects everyone to be, like, stunned and shocked and be like, oh, we're so owned. But in reality, if they did that, everyone would just laugh at them. That's pretty much what just happened here. She thought this was an epic roast, and the best way to show she doesn't care, while showing very strongly that she does care a lot about what's going on. And this idea of, I'm going to act like I don't care, this non-response response, is exactly what we expected. You have no valid response to any of this criticism. And she frames, notice how she frames the criticism she's receiving for her dubs, her localizations, and all of her behavior on Twitter. She's framing it as allegations, not criticism, it's allegations. And when she's talking about Asmongold and his role with Soft Giving, it's not allegations, it's criticism. Notice how that works. But yes, that was her non-response response to the situation. And look at the drones in her replies to her TikTok. All these people calling Asmongold, his fans, and all of Jamie's critics a bunch of dorks and losers and things like that. I got news for you. These nerds and these dorks, these are the people who are interested in the medium you are working in. So if this is the kind of stuff you're fostering in your reply section of your TikToks, not a very good look. This isn't the W you think it is. And you see people saying stuff like this: a man afraid of a woman who knows her strength. What? Deflecting criticism by saying she has a vagina? Or this TikTok where she says, I don't care? Which one is the strength? I don't really understand. Then here someone points out that Asmongold has a dirty room. And that's the first level of anything towards a criticism she makes. She basically says, you have a dirty room, sir. You know, it shows she has absolutely nothing to say while pretending to not care, but leaving responses like this. But then you have this sentiment going around in the replies saying, you're winning the I don't give a F war. Yeah, she's winning that by making an entire TikTok talking about how much she doesn't care, and then going to Twitter, posting it, and then reposting it multiple times to try to get more attention, and then spending literally every waking minute of her day replying to every single person on Twitter who is coming after her. It's not... I'm getting a headache, ladies and gentlemen. How are these people real? But anyways, she would continue to prove how little she cared in the replies to her tweets sharing the TikTok, where someone says, you took a huge L, and she responds with, who gives a F? And then down here, after more people talking, she says this, referring to Asmongold. I asked Jack, and he told me the dude was a whiny little bitch, once again resorting to name-calling when no one's doing that, at least Asmongold and people that are being directly brought up in your TikTok. But here's another interesting thing. Look at the people replying and supporting her message. You have this individual, Ben Phillips, saying it's so beautiful, right? Who's this guy? Oh, well, he's an actor, an adaptive writer for Crunchyroll. That's interesting. That's pretty interesting, guys. So we have people involved with Crunchyroll who apparently support this kind of BS in their localizations and dubs. Very interesting stuff. But I want to end this video by giving, I guess, unsolicited advice to people like Jamie. I think, genuinely, your time is spent better doing anything other than continuing this. You are not only making yourself look bad, you are wasting your time. I'm looking at your public IMDb list of all the things you've been credited for, and it appears that 2023 was the least number of voice acting roles you've had in a given year for a long time. And honestly, if you're in a situation like that, you should be focusing on your craft, not arguing with 10 follower accounts on Twitter. You know, and here's another thing that a lot of people probably haven't talked about yet, but like, we know this is YouTube, okay? There's not like some grand decorum in professionalism that is expected on a YouTube channel. But when you're someone who's a member of the voice acting industry or the anime and manga industry, I think there's a certain level of professionalism that is expected. If you were a halfway rational person who is looking to hire a voice actress, when they look at your Twitter, they have to say, holy crap, I don't want to deal with this person. Because who would want to deal with someone who spends all day arguing with random people? And it's not even about whether or not they support what you're saying. They just see how argumentative and unhinged you look through all these responses to everyone talking to you on Twitter. It just doesn't look good. Who would want to work with that? I don't know. But anyways, I think your time would be much better suited and your mental health much better suited if you just moved on from this. Just move on. The reason this conversation keeps going is because you keep defending this line, this localization, and you keep adding more and more ammunition for people to use against you and the localization industry as a whole. But that's going to do it for this video. I know it was a bit of a long one, a bit of a ranty one, a lot of different topics. So as always, feel free to share all of your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.